moving right along, we have 8.8, and I am going to fail to do this properly. I am going to try to not use the keyword this when not referring specifically to the idea of the keyword this. So here is the setup for how this is supposed, shoot, I did it right there, how this whole thing works. The this keyword is the name of a reference variable that an object can use to refer to itself. So the very same thing we have in language is the idea of me, right? So when I say me, I am referring to myself. But when you say me, you don't refer to me, you refer to you as me. Somewhere out there, there's a Sesame Street bit just waiting to be built around this. So the idea there is that the keyword refers to the reflexive. So that means it points back to the object itself, right? So when I use me, it's me, but when you use me, it's you. So Java does the exact same thing with the this reference variable. So what all does that mean? It's really twofold. So the first fold of the this keyword is we can very, very, very specifically reference an object by itself when we are using the this keyword. So this, shoot, I did it right there. So the following example comes from the previous chapter and from our previous examples here in chapter 8, where we have the idea of equals. So the equals is a Boolean method that returns true or false if and only if both the stock symbol and the share price are the same. So what essentially would be happening here, and this, shoot, I did it again. The following example occurs on someplace between page 528 and 530, so it's not altogether that long a bit and bob here. So the example here would have object 1 making a comparison to object 2 by referring to the equals method. So what we don't see here is some place inside of our main we would have a function call, right? So that function call would be object 1 dot symbol equals object 2 dot symbol. So that's going to make that equals call is going to make a call here to this function equals, and we are going to pass to that function object 2. So the question here is, what object called equals? And way back in main, it would be object 1 made the call to equals. So Java knows, look, object 1 made the call. So here inside of this particular method, if I say this dot symbol or this dot share price, the this refers to the object that made this call, and in that case it would be object 1. So this example, the one we saw previously here in chapter 8, can be rewritten without any change as follows. We would have this dot symbol dot equals the same way we have here symbol dot equals, because this reference and this reference, and I know I just did it there again, both of them point back to the object that made the call, which is object 1, not object 2. And I know that that is sticky, and I know that that is, what's the opposite of easier? It's actually harder to do, right? If you'll notice the number of references we would have here, symbol dot equals versus this dot symbol dot equals, actually increases the amount of code that you have to type, which, as I always say, the more you have to type, the more error you introduce into your code. And that is absolutely the case. However, this reference does make shadowing a little bit less of a concern. So you'll remember that shadowing is when a parameter name, so let's suppose in main. Now, the parameter does not necessarily have to be in main. It's just the thing that we pass to a function. But I'll suggest that we've been doing most of that inside of main, so that's where I'll suggest that this is coming. So what happens is a parameter name overshadows, or shadows rather, a field name. So the field is here inside of a function. So what we have been doing to avoid complications this whole time is we are saying, for the most part, look, if you are going to pass a parameter, it will have one name, and inside of your method, it will have another name. So I pass a parameter called symbol, and I pass a parameter called share price to stock. And here inside of stock, I refer to the value passed from stock symbol as sim, S-Y-M, and I refer to the value passed from share price as price here inside of my method. And the reason we do that is to avoid having to like do the pretzel logic that we do. Okay, hold on, if I call it ticker here, for the stock symbol, that's one of the words we would use for that, and then here I call it symbol, I won't forget and screw that up. And all of that stuff is true, and there are absolutely some developers who will completely riot if you have a parameter name and a field that have the same name. They just flip out. And I understand that because it makes going back and bug fixing later on very, very difficult sometimes, because you don't know you're looking for different variables because they have the same name. The idea here is that this can remove that overshadowing, the idea that, oops, I referred to the wrong variable. So how would we make that easier? Well, that would be this little code snippet here, and I do not have a page for you, but I do believe it is on page 530. Here, if I rewrite the constructor for stock, and instead of changing the parameter that I'm passing, the name there, the variable name there, and the field, so symbol SYM, and share price was price. So if I say to heck with all of that, I am going to pass to the constructor for my object, or for my class rather, stock, I'm going to pass string symbol, which is exactly the parameter name. I'm going to pass double share price, which is exactly the parameter name. And then inside of my method, I am going to rely on Java to figure that stuff out. So here, this refers to the object we are creating. So the object I'm creating, dot symbol, so me dot symbol or this dot symbol are all the same thing. So this dot symbol, so the new object dot symbol equals symbol, this symbol. And I know that I just repeated the word symbol 3,000 times in 5 seconds, and it gets confusing, right? Well, that's exactly what this is trying to circumvent is, hey, look, just rely on Java to do this for you. And I know I just used the keyword there. This is actually the keyword, though. If Java knows what object is being referred to, and if Java knows that that object has a field, and if Java knows that you're passing a reference down here, then let Java figure it out. So that's really where the power of the this keyword comes from. You are relying on Java to do what it's doing anyway. You are removing the difficulty that often we as developers have for, okay, how can I abstract symbol into something that is just as descriptive of variable name, but not going to shadow the variable that, or the field rather, here that I really wanted to reference. Let Java do that for you. This, just as in me, refers to the thing that is calling it. So that'll change based on whatever object is making the call to symbol or share price, or making the call to assign that value here. So we're going to see this in practice in one of the code sample videos. It seems different or strange, or certainly we haven't seen it already. But if you can use the keyword me and hear somebody else use the keyword me, the thought is exactly the same. This is Java referring to me.